Hello, I'm Deepa Mahesh, a leadership coach and a facilitator with 15 plus years of experience in the field. And when I'm working with leaders, what I observe is everybody's chasing for performance and success. And seldom leaders stop, pause, and wonder what's bringing this success? What's bringing this performance? Am I really happy? Am I really fulfilled? Now, those are the questions over a longer period of time would be worthwhile to pause and ask. And that's exactly the intention of the Leaders Voice series. So every fortnight, we release a video, we invite a leader who lives with success and balance at the same time. And when we hear their voices, we would like to amplify their voices so that you and all those who are listening can listen into another way of living and being. And today we have on our show Kartik Sharma. Welcome, Kartik.
Yeah, hi Deepa. Nice
Hi.
to meet you.
So Kartik is a Group Executive Officer, India Operations at Omnicom Media Group, the leading global advertising, marketing, and corporate communications media network. With 25 years of rich experience in the media industry, Kartik is a proven thought leader and expert in communication planning, behavioral economics, media research, analytics, and technology. Prior to ONG, he spent 2.5 years as a CEO for South Asia Wavemaker. He has worked with renowned agencies such as Lintas, Mindshare, Madison, Maxis across a diverse set of profiles and has enjoyed the good fortune to be instrumental in and witness to several key developments in the industry. Amazing. Amongst noteworthy accolades, he has been recognized by the ET Brand Equity as one of the most experiential people in advertising and was more recently accoladed as AdGully's Powerful Influencer of 2021 and featured among the top 100 marketing leaders of Exchange for Media. Congratulations, Karthik.
Thank you, Deepa.
He is a firm believer in the fact that our curiosity and creativity fuel innovation and help us evolve every single day. Evolve is the word I pick up, Kartik, in this. Beautiful. He says the ability to dream fearlessly and to respect the power of possibilities that an idea brings forth is what I expect from myself and I aspire to instill in every team I work with. His hobbies include reading, music, listening to music, watching multilingual movies and web series. Wow, beautiful. Thank you so much, Karthik, for being here
Thank
and
you.
uh, and having this conversation with me.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me to your show.
Thank you. So, as I was telling you, the purpose of this show is to show to people who are going to listen in how living in balance can also be another way of being successful. In fact, I believe that when you master your inner energy, outer success is a byproduct. It automatically happens. Now, you have been in the realm, in the helm of success over the 25 years of your rich experience. Can you share what has been your experience with inner mastery leads to outer success?
It's a big topic.
Yeah.
Firstly, it takes a bit of time. When any individual starts his or her career, for a longest part of time, we're very focused on a short-term career and things which are uh, probably important, but in the long term may get questioned. So, the next promotion, the next designation. That's a typical life most people go through. You're looking for that. You start like maybe a trainee or a junior executive in any company, and then you start looking at the industry. The initial few years in most industries to learn more about the industry, the technical skills and potentially maybe networking skills, and once you reach a certain level, maybe a CEO or one level below, that's where things become completely, because till up till that point, you're someone to look up to. You have maybe one or two bosses to look up to, and they're always guiding you. But when you reach that place of, let's say, a CEO as a point, then there is no further looking up, right? So you are in a way alone,
Yes.
and it is suddenly you realize that others are looking up to you to give direction, and that's where the inner mastery starts to get tested.
Very
And
true.
potentially, just before you reach that, for me, it was 1 or 2 years before I became. I was not even aware which year I will become the CEO. One, I did not have a goal like that. And in hindsight, that was the best thing to happen. I never
Very
had a
true.
dream I want to become a CEO or something. I just enjoyed doing whatever I was doing. And that kept me running for a long period of time.
Mm.
Possibly if I started by thinking I want to become a CEO, maybe the conflicts could have been much bigger. So, but I was
Yes.
enjoying, and suddenly it happened out of the blue one day. An opportunity came and it happened. Then a new set of, I still remember the day, distinct day when I became the CEO. That was in Maxis in 2014 or
Mm.
thereabout. I came home and there was a lot of self doubt. Am I even capable of doing this? Because you've seen your boss doing this job, and you're happy being, led by somebody else taking decisions.
Yes.
Now you have to take the decision. That was
Yes.
weighing in for me. It was not an easy night to sleep over. And then somehow you got the courage. You went in, and many weeks, months, there's a lot of self doubt.
Mm.
People do go through. At least in my
Yes.
journey, I've seen this happen.
Yes.
And then the real moment, and that pivots you into new set of capabilities, decision making, because often you have to take sometimes tough decisions, or maybe decisions which are conflicting
Mm.
internally.
Mm.
So sometimes what looks tough today is the right thing for you to do in the long run, and vice versa.
Yes.
And that continues even today. So what
Yes.
may look like correct today may be wrong later, and what looks wrong now. And so one thing I've realized and learned over the period of time is uh, it is going to be a fairly lone battle, if you want to see it as a battle, or a lone process, I would say, more than
Yeah.
a battle. That,
Mm.
yeah,
Mm.
and your biggest friend and enemy is actually your own mind.
Mm.
On one side, it will tell you many things, and on
Mm.
the other side, it will put you on self doubts. So how do you balance that? And therefore, managing firstly your own mind before you can
Mm.
manage anything else is was my big realization.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we do in business is there's a lot of, particularly in India, and my experience has only been in India, but I do work with a lot of international people. Indians are generally very emotional people. So there's a lot of emotion when we talk. There's a lot without me, life will not happen kind of thing. And the personal and professional lives kind of merge.
Mm.
While when you work with some of the global leaders, at least they have two different lives. There's a professional life and a personal life. And I commend them to do that. But
They
Indians,
switch off.
they switch off. But we don't for various reasons that we'll
Mm.
come to later. But and that becomes a problem. So you're carrying the work home, you're thinking about it, and then there's all kind of other problems.
Yes.
So this inner mastery for each person probably will come at different moments. For
Yes.
me, it happened just before I became CEO. For somebody else, it might be earlier or maybe later.
Mm.
But it's an important part, and the key ingredient is to talk to yourself. So I do a lot of self-talk,
You do.
and
Mm.
there's a lot of me time. Like my walking time is my me time, that I'm listening to
Mm.
music and some thoughts come to mind.
Mm.
And you're trying to see how am I reacting when
Mhm.
such and such incident happened. Did it make me feel angry? What were
Mm.
my initial thoughts? So going back and seeing, it's not easy, but you'll have to develop it.
Yes.
Probably you need the help of a coach. Probably you need good friends and family circle around you. Basically, good advisors who you can listen to.
Mm.
But you have to work on yourself. It will not
Yes.
happen for very few. For gifted people, it may happen naturally. But for most people, you'll have to develop that skill
Yeah.
and have the humility, I would say, that yes, there's a possibility to change. You don't have to
Yeah.
be the same way what you were 10 years back. and that
Yes.
would have been then a problem. Certain aspects of a life may still remain same. I hear this saying, hey, this person is very aggressive, this person is like that. We try to put people in certain boxes, but people evolve. What I also
Yes.
seen is with life stages, people evolve dramatically. That may or may not be reflected in everything you do, but as a person internally, you are evolving. And the evolution can be a very good evolution or bad evolution depending on how you react.
Mm.
So the inner mastery moment for me, to come to your core question, happened in a way by chance, I would say, little bit. But somewhere the self-talk and all that, which I was always doing for quite a number of years, probably made me a little bit more aware than in
Yes.
other cases. And even after becoming CEO, and CEO is just a title, right? That is not you. It is just a title, and there should not be beyond that title. There is an entire human being. The
Yes.
title is not going to get things done. The real human beings are going to get
Yeah.
things. So I come from that core belief that honestly, titles really don't matter. And if you are what you're doing, uh, you can have all the influence that you want to do. You can get your things done for yourself, for your company, for your friends, for your family. That's more important than any title. So I don't worry so much on title. It's okay. The organizations have to have it. The only practical purpose I see is that distinguishes person A to person B to get some differential compensation. But beyond that, I've seen leaders with relatively smaller titles and do amazing work. They are the true leaders in my mind, and we see it all over in our own company and even outside companies. I've seen all that happen. So the inner mastery is wherever possible. If you can develop this thing of talking to yourself, being more aware of
Mm.
what you're saying, what you're doing.
Mm.
And so the simple test could be, hey, yesterday this incident happened. I behaved in a certain way. If the same incident were to repeat today, would I have the same response? Would I have done something different?
Mm.
And making even for some people, making even keeping a diary may make sense.
Yes.
Writing down what they have seen, how did they feel? So one of the things I learned in one of my coaching was, how are you is a good question, but it is better to ask, how are you feeling? It's a very
Feeling.
different question, because people
Exactly.
are all human beings of feelings, right? We all have emotions. So today, generally, I may be doing good, but some small incident might have happened, and I may feel very happy or miserable depending on what has happened.
Very true.
And
Very true.
that will trigger how I'm going to react in that moment.
Yes.
Uh, so being a little more conscious, I think that inner thing starts becoming better and better.
Yes, yes, very true. So many key points actually you highlighted about the core nature of a human being. And one of the things which is very, very, we say human iceberg, and literally the 10% which is above the iceberg is what's visible, which is the action and like you said, the title, the role. That's not you. What's below is the 90%, and then you have your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, your instincts, your needs, your motivations. And as you go deeper, it's even more subtler
Yeah,
and not really visible and available. And what you're really suggesting as a tool is to really have that dialogue with yourself in self reflection and self awareness every single day and write down what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what I'm doing, and what I'm speaking. Is
yeah,
it in congruence?
yeah,
And that can give you, it can highlight data. Okay,
yeah,
what can you do differently about yourself?
absolutely.
Very, very true. In fact, I always say that self leadership precedes leading others. So the way in organizational parlance, we say leading self, leading others. They are individual contributors and they are sent for productivity training or personal effectiveness training. But actually, every leader is supposed to go to that grind because we're looking at inner world and outer world. But
Absolutely.
I don't see so much people relying on the inner world at all. It's all the external until you say, like you said, you reach a place where you're forced to look within.
Yeah,
Yeah, but isn't it beautiful that universe always gives us second, third, fourth chances? What you
Yeah,
missed earlier, you always can catch up.
absolutely, absolutely. I think it's about being also being open, and it
Yes.
takes a bit of time. And some of the reasons why we all behave in a certain way, it's also to do with our context in which we have been brought up,
Brought up.
right?
Yes.
What family you were born in, what circle you had, what kind of schooling, all of those subtly, sometimes very powerfully, sometimes
Yes.
subtly starts, having impact on uh, how you shape as an individual. How
Very
and
true.
therefore how are you going to shape the environment within you, the society, so on and so forth. And there's only so much you can do, right? Where I was born or what background, uh, it's not just in my hands. So focus on the controllable factors. What you
Correct.
can control is what you can do today.
Yes. Yes.
Learn from what you did yesterday and what you can do today.
Very true.
Uh, the other thing is, while schooling and colleges do a great job of teaching us technical skills, we, at least in India, we do not spend enough time, at least at a schooling level, thinking about what are the things around purpose in life.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
And we spend too much time, learn things like, oh, okay, do you want to learn maths? Fantastic, learn maths. You want to learn science? We spend a lot of time, but I think some of these behavioral aspects, if they start teaching in some form in school
Yeah.
or in colleges,
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
at a mass level, because then you're going to impact so many lives very early.
Yes.
And they don't
Absolutely.
probably need to go through this, 15, 20 years.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why the struggle, no? Yeah. In fact, my children went to a Waldorf school, alternative school, and journaling was introduced to them, I think, in grade three. But it's a very different system. They make their own textbook. There's no rote learning, etc. So I was very thrilled when my son came and told me this is my journal. And I've been journaling for the last 20 years. And when a mother tells you the child journal, they'll say, what the hell? But when it's a school curriculum, and they know it. Now, what it did is it made him reflect. I don't think he understood the reason why he was doing it. He just did it because it was a part of the curriculum. Every book he read, he had to do the introduction, the beginning, middle, and end. So he learned how to review a book right when he was in third grade, fourth grade. I think those are life skills, and I loved. And then he was taught to knit. Now there's this belief, boys can't knit, boys can't sew. He did, they did everything. So the whole system, and of course I made this choice because I was so bored of my education that I didn't want them to really suck up to that and lose their childhood. So I wanted them to be free individuals knowing their responsibility. Now, what I saw, I mean, now he's in 12th. He can make his own choices. I don't have to interfere, even if whatever responsibility he takes, he's responsible. Whatever decision he takes, he's responsible for it, and he's okay with it. And I think the school has contributed. He will not agree because he was not allowed to see cartoons and eat stuff and read this and that. But I believe so. So the what you're saying about schooling, no, it makes such a difference when it's
Yeah.
introduced then, even though they don't know why they're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, very true. One of the things that you shared in the initial is when you have decisions which are conflicting, you have to make those choices and then you have to pause and think about it. To me, it sounded like, there could be a probable values conflict also,
Yes.
laden with it. So, would you like to throw light on how your awareness of yourself and the self-awareness has enabled you, to really sort these value conflicts because it drains a lot of energy and it's a huge interference for you to convert your potential to performance.
Yeah. So I think first is the topic of value itself is very large and complex. Often what happens is, and we have as an organization, we have done a lot of, when I joined Omnicom, we did a lot of work around values. And people, first is, I may have a set of values. Let's say you may have a set of values. And typically when you talk to people in a group of 20, 30 people, they will all have a bunch of values. The problem happens is in the rank order of the values. What you
Yes.
value, if I had to put and ask a question, the number one most important value for you in life is X, and mine will be Y.
Mm.
And
Yes.
and when we work as a team, that's where the conflict starts. So therefore,
Yes.
to bring everyone together, first is you have to agree on what could be an organizational agreed value for at least your senior leadership team. Now, the reverse of value, which we learned from our coaches, is the shadow value.
Yes.
Shadow value is not the opposite, but these are things which can make you suddenly become a very
Volatile.
one person to somebody else.
Yes. Correct.
Understanding shadow values become equally important. So we have
Yes.
done a lot of bunch of work around that area, and many times when difficult decisions are there, and life will never give a easy black and white decision. There are always grays. uh, we try and resolve it using the lens of value. Are we
Yes.
compromising on these values and all? And by and large, even after that, because values is such different for different people, you cannot get it right 100%. So
Very
first
true.
is ready, don't be harsh on yourself, make the best intention. And that's what we said collectively. And finally, somebody has to make a decision. So I get a lot of advice from my core team and everybody. But sometimes certain decisions are, as I said, lonely. And it may probably even go against the most popular thing. But something inside you will tell you that is the right thing. So you have to listen to everything, keep your values in mind, and make that jump. And the conviction is where probably experience comes in. Uh, how all the signals that you're taking in, everything comes in. There's no
Yeah.
one right. And sometimes you may get the wrong conviction. And you should have the uh, courage to stand up and say, hey, I took this decision for A, B, C, D reason, and I was wrong.
Mm.
And that's once you are willing to do that, then decision making is much more simpler. Where I
Yes,
want
that's
to give my past,
authenticity.
right? So there have been decisions which I have thought that was right for a particular context, and time proved me wrong. And I had no shame in standing up to a bunch of 50, 60 people and saying, hey, I took this decision. I was wrong.
Mm.
That puts you in a good place because then you're not dealing with any guilt. You're saying that you're as human as anybody.
Correct.
You will fail, possibly you will fail more than you will succeed.
Yes.
The goal is to reduce that through proper investigation. But life is life, right? Whatever
Yes.
you try to do, uh, I also look at whether our intention is right or wrong. Sometimes the intentions can be borderline, are we really,
Yes.
really doing it for, and not to put something to get our own way. Particularly in senior teams, it can become very tricky. Let's say you don't want somebody in your team,
Correct.
but you cannot take a bias. Are you going through the right process? Is why you are feeling that way? And that's where all these things come.
Yes.
Is the data which says this person is not working, not working? Have we done everything, given our best to ensure that individual has succeeded?
Mm.
So on and so forth. So what happens is a lot again comes back to, have I done what I'm supposed to do? It is not about that individual. Maybe actually I have failed, maybe in a situation, or maybe I have actually done the right thing. So going and asking this question again, it is not easy. Deepa, none of this is easy. It's a lot of hard work. And often many senior managers tend to take the shortcut because you don't want conflict. The mind does not like conflict.
Mm.
The mind, whatever name you want to call it, happiness, peace, does not like conflict. So it has its own, but the base level peace, if I were to say, is different for different people. For me, peace can be here. For somebody else, peace can be here. The levels may be different, but a mind does not like conflict, and the
Yes.
mind wants to take some shortcuts. And therefore, lot of it in leadership starts with the self, with knowing your own mind.
Mm.
And this is not a secret. Everyone talks. The mind is a monkey. And recently, one nice anecdote. I was having lunch with a couple of my colleagues and mid-level guys, and I asked them. I don't get to interact so much with some of them, right? You're running around doing. So one talk led to the other. I said, hey, and one guy was saying, I'm not getting sleep or stuff
Mm.
like that. So I
Mm,
told him one thing. Why don't you do one thing tomorrow
mm,
morning for
mm,
10 minutes?
mm,
Just close your eyes at
mm,
home before you
mm,
leave. And full 10 minutes, just close your eyes
mm,
and tell me what happens.
mhm.
So a couple of days later, I met him. We again were in the same lunch table. He said, "Sir, it is so difficult.
Yes.
After 3 minutes, I just could not concentrate." I said, "But you are at your home. You're in a comfortable place." He said, "I just could not concentrate."
Yes, yes, very true.
So if we can't do, and that told me a story, and I was not surprised with that outcome.
Yeah.
But if you cannot do 10 minutes,
Mm,
okay, and let's say that person is handling 10 more people.
mm.
We can't manage our own thoughts. How are we going to manage 10,
Correct.
15, 20, 200, 500, whatever number of people? So a lot of it for leaders starts with self
Yes.
knowing, and therefore remaining calm becomes very important.
Yes.
Otherwise, your mind is going to take some wrong decisions all the time because it's jumping, right? Literally, the monkey inside us is jumping. It
Yes.
wants us to do something. So how are you training that becomes a very important aspect.
Very important, actually. And what you brought in fact, I must tell you this. Because I'm a facilitator, I interact with HR and seniors to develop leadership programs. And many times, I would say 65, 70% of the times, I am asked to train leaders on skills. And my approach is always inside out. Because skills are so easy. So today there's so many LinkedIn Learning, Google, so many places you can go to. But the inner work, how do you train your mind, your thoughts? Like what you said, a very important thing. You said that you took a decision based on your instinct and data. So there's data-driven decision making and there's instinct-driven decision making. If you can't silence your mind, instincts are not available to you. It's
Yeah,
impossible to be available for it to be available. Now, these are very important leadership traits or skills, but they do not come in the generic, skill bucket. And to
yeah,
get access to the intuition, you need to be able to deeply listen. To be able to deeply listen, you need to be silent. To be silent, you have to know your thoughts and emotions. You need
yeah,
to know your shadow emotions and thoughts. Like you talked about shadow values, you need to know what you have repressed. Maybe you
yeah,
have repressed courage. Maybe you have repressed so many things, which if you just become aware of, it's
yeah,
easily accessible for you to achieve success. You don't have to struggle so much.
yeah, yeah.
And this orientation, first of all, for HR people and leaders to have, to be able to facilitate it for the larger organization, is actually, it's limited, I would say. Because again, exposure and what you think. Now, I'm told, can you bring a data on, you deliver this program, it increases business results.
Yeah,
It's very hard to quantify.
yeah,
I know I can do all the right things, but if you, as a train or a learner, do not engage and say, "ये सब बकवास है," तो where is the business result? You need to be
correct.
engaged. So
Yeah,
I find this resistance a lot
yeah.
coming in. Yeah,
Mind keeps talking, right? The mind mind doesn't want to accept easily, and that's where things like presence practice become important. Again, a lot of work we've started doing in the last 2 years, the area of
wonderful.
presence practice and listening skills and all that. So
Yes.
still lot more to do, but I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
at least be aware of what all things you can. There's a bunch of things available for you at
Yes.
all points in time.
Yes.
And the other thing I feel is little philosophical for me. We don't have to be Marvel superheroes,
Yes.
right? Often, once you're in leadership position, either the world is looking at and your own mind is making you feel. And I keep saying this. I have no superpowers. I'm not a Marvel superhero. I'm RK Lakshman's common man coming to a job with a bunch of whatever skills I may have and probably people who have much better skills. I learned this in my another earlier job. For you to be successful, spend more time recruiting people who are much, much better than you. And
Yes.
you surround yourself and you encourage them to do the same. Then you're going to have an ecosystem of people who are fantastic.
Yes.
And your job becomes that much more easier, and you can then focus on what you are supposed to do rather than trying to either be overwhelmed at one level or trying to become a, and there are people who are overwhelmed, are unable to do, or others who are saying I'm doing 19 hours a day and they're possibly not able to run the marathon
Yes.
beyond a point. And the second
Yes.
year, and then those things have a ill effect, right? Your health takes a
Yes.
toll, your
Yes.
family takes a toll, everything takes a toll.
Yes, very true, very true. So, what are your, energy management or presence practices which you engage in daily, weekly, monthly? Is there a ritual like a routine?
Uh, Not many things. So there are two, three things which I've been because I've tried many things field. So first is I start with a gratitude prayer. When I wake up, I do a gratitude prayer. When go to sleep, I do a gratitude prayer. I genuinely believe having a gratitude in some form, even saying, hey, thank you, can be a gratitude prayer. Or you want to say a prayer, I say a small sloka, which helps me morning and night. And most importantly, first thing is when I wake up, I immediately do not see my mobile for at least 20 minutes.
Good.
There is no need to keep on continuously seeing mobile. If people, if there is a work to be done, people will call you. If it's very critical, they will call you and you can do that. The constant feeling of uh, last 2 years or so, I have been more or less down on most of my social media apps. Okay, so that also helps because there's so much flood of information. And while social media has its great positive power, at individual level, if you cannot manage it, you're constantly seeing it. It's a pressure on your mind. I don't want that pressure. And what I also do is I listen to either music or some form of spiritual thing as I'm doing my daily chores in the morning. And most important, as many days as possible, I walk.
Hmm.
Like 45 minutes to I have there I have some organizational level type targets. So many steps you have to hit because that's the only way because the mind says, hey, it's okay, yaar, aaj Sunday chhod do, aaj nahi karna hai.
Correct, correct,
You don't want to do that. Like even
correct.
today, I've
Hmm.
done I've done my goals. And that's the time you listen, you're observing. That is my me time.
Yes.
The other thing, energy levels to do is eat properly.
Hmm.
I feel that Indians are not great at managing their diet. So eat a breakfast. Okay. Though I'm not a dietitian and anything I say should not be taken without proper consulting. So I eat a three meal, a breakfast, a reasonably heavy breakfast, moderate lunch and moderate dinner. So I don't overeat and try to eat some fruits and stuff like that. Uh, and drink a lot of water. I think people don't drink enough water. I
Hmm.
don't any cola or any of those things. Stay away from those things because they do have impact on your body and therefore your mind.
Yes.
They are totally interlinked. And
Totally.
last but not the least, most important is sleep.
Hmm.
Extremely important to sleep at least 6 to 7 hours. 8 is good if you can. I sleep between 6.5, 7 hours. And I go to bed little early by Mumbai standards. I'm not awake till 2 o'clock and all that. Very rarely. I'm trying to sleep by 11 o'clock, which is a good time to sleep. Uh, I read a lot. So before sleeping, I read. So those are the smaller practices. Uh, I'm deeply spiritual, but I'm not ritualistic. So for me, everything is within. So I don't have to show it to the world. Uh, I believe in those bigger powers which sit above us. And I have my own way of totally respecting them and imbibing everything the forces of nature give us. But it's not ritual. It's not like every week I go to temple. I'll go to temple if I get time, or I'll do those things. But not so much on rituals, but more spiritual, I would say. Uh, I think if you do some of these things, simple things like even walking, and do it as many days, be conscious of that. And for me, the gratitude really works in a mysterious way. The nature is, it comes in various forms, so you
Hmm.
can't see it You may not know any difference in one day, but over a period of time, that's something which I've also taught my son. I make it a habit to do it even morning and night when we go. So he comes now. We do the prayer together for many years together, and that's a good thing to go back and stay away from all the gadgets as much as possible. So because for clear decision making, your mind has to be clear, constantly looking at something, some information, because the speed at which information is coming, the human mind cannot take it. Like you
Yes.
are getting one tweet or one WhatsApp message every, let's say, minute,
Mm,
a 40 minute day. It's maddening. So
mm,
there is a lot of noise. So cut down all the noise as possible. Very difficult, but can be done. Because initially you were taught, right? Even as a kid today, look at the kid, look at any of our public places, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a train or
yeah.
nobody is looking at each other.
Yes,
Yeah,
very true.
we have become that part of the society. So no conversations
Yes.
are happening because probably for us, for each of us, something more interesting is coming in our feeds that we are
Yes, yes, yes.
bring
Very
back
true.
some of those things. And I think I was in a long flight recently, and there was a temptation to watch movies. I did not. I was actually staring up, doing nothing, maybe observing some people around me, they're sleeping. All that's it. I did not watch, and
Mm,
it can be done. It was a very long flight, but it can be done if you talk to your mind.
yes,
See,
yes,
everything, Deepa, it starts here. The mastery is all of the mind. The
yes,
mind can be your best friend, worst enemy.
yes.
And people create, companies get created as a concept. When take some of the biggest companies, they all created because one person's thought came saying, I will change this world or I will do this. And it also got destroyed because of the same thing of, okay, I know everything.
Yes,
I don't
yes.
care for anybody. So all the things reside in here.
Yeah,
And if
yeah,
you channelize this to the best possible way through tools available, we'll be in a better place.
yeah. Wow, wow. You know what? When I'm hearing you share all the things you do and focus on, it sounds very holistic at the level of the body, at the level of the mind and thoughts, at the level of the emotions, at the level of the spirit. So it is so holistic, and our scriptures have talked about the panchakoshas and clearing it, and it seems very holistic. And even if we start with one or two practices, like you said, and then make it a full-fledged practice, I think so much of. And you talked about clearing, and what I'm sensing is that you bring spaciousness for you to be able to fill in with what's necessary and important at that point in time. If the spaciousness is not there, what can you fill it when it's already full?
The other thing is to talk to your mind, saying you are not often in leaders. I've observed, and I've also been part of the, I would say, cribbing population where we see that we are helpless. The truth is, you are not helpless.
Mm,
There are choices one can make. It's all
mm,
about, in a way, choice making, also, right?
mm,
What is
mm,
very important. So, if and you read out my bio, and I love to watch movies. So, till all the OTTs were not available, every Saturday or Sunday, if there is a new movie, I will go and watch alone. I don't care if family wants to come, it's great. Now, for me, that is very important.
mm.
I will find time. All you have to
Yes.
tell your mind is this is very important for me. Whatever your tasks, whatever your hobbies, and I will find, and magically you will find time, because as human beings, we will also waste time on things because we don't value, right? We in a full day, there are things which we pack ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a task. The question is it important? Do I need to have this meeting today? What will come if I don't do this meeting? What is the value of in one of my early organizations, we used to talk about meeting ROI. My senior leaders taught me what is the ROI of a meeting. And it was when he told me that, it was very amusing. What the hell is it? But over a period of time, I started respecting it. What is the real purpose? Is there a ROI coming, or we are just sitting rambling? And many times there are just ramblings. We just want to take out verbal diarrhea. We want to just share. There's no real outcome, and
Yes.
that's fine. And you may just say, today's meeting, we are not going to come at any position. I just want to talk my mind, and that's absolutely fine as long as we are all clear about it.
Correct.
That's also worth in has its worth.
Correct.
So uh, I think there's a lot that can be done, and choices are there for us, and we are not helpless. The minute we are feeling helpless, we are all playing the victim card, knowingly or unknowingly. Oh, I'm the victim. The company is my problem. My clients are my problem. The world is the problem. Everything is a problem.
Mm.
Or the another way is saying, hey, we know all of this. The world is not fair place,
Mm.
right? So I have to make the best out of what I have,
Mm. Mm.
which is more like a sports captain's mindset.
Mm.
Captain is 11 players. Let's say take cricket as example. Now, whatever is the composition is a composition. If
Yes.
two of my best players are down and I have a replacement, I have to deal with it. So,
Yes.
and we will do the best within what we have. And sometimes you will find that even an average team, because they were a team, the outcome was much better than a great team having a very bad attitude can also fail.
Yes.
We can
Yes.
get into that mindset, and it takes time. It really takes time because realizations take time. Realization doesn't happen at the start of your career because
It
you're
does.
focusing at bunch
Yes.
of things which are important but not necessary for leadership things.
Yes, absolutely. And realizations can happen when you give yourself that time to listen in. So it's exactly the place we've come where we started, and this is how you opened today's
Yeah.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're coming to almost the end of the conversation. Is there any thought that you would want to leave the audience with?
Oh, I think in today's day and age, there are a couple of things as a leader to be successful. One is it's going to be a far more dynamic world, even more so in this year and years to come than what it was, say, 10 years prior. So that's a reality, and the pace of change is going to only become even more complicated. So you have to have a set of tools, I would say, or toolkit for you, and that is your own self.
Mm.
So the practices which I said,
Yeah.
spend more time first on health.
Mm.
Biggest lesson is because if you're not healthy, whatever your intention,
Yeah.
whatever battle, you have lost it. So
Yes.
first put your energies on trying to build a health. And as I jokingly say, there is only one thing common between a car and the body. गाड़ी और बॉडी में एक ही है दोनों डीके होता है दोनों में depreciation. So every day there is a depreciation, so you have to put your efforts to make sure that you can live a reasonably healthy life for as long as possible. Old age will come, that's a reality, but if you can do your best, the minute your health is good, your mind is good. This is my personal way. This is not taken from anywhere. The health is important for the mind, and spend as much time as possible doing whatever best for your family. Sort these three things out, because in this circle of life, I learned it from one of my coaches, and it's a concept of, probably you are a coach, so you will know circle of life, the multiple dimensions that we live in, the
Yes.
office as a dimension, society as a dimension. And he made me do a very simple thing, saying on a
Yes.
scale of 10,
Yes.
and we're all in a circle. He said, you rate yourself. So I rated myself. And he said, what shape do you see? It was not a shape of a say a circle.
Yes.
When I did that exercise, this was several years ago, career-wise, it was fantastic. Everything else was good. Family was low, health was low. And he said, for a circle, all you require, you don't have to be 10 on 10 on everything.
Mm.
To get a circle, you need balance, right? You have to get most of it right. And then that's how the circle will move forward.
Right.
Otherwise, there will only you will be good at two or three dimensions,
Right.
and rest will, and that's the conflict which will keep happening. We'll say, burnout, unhappiness, blah, 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 the works will start.
Correct.
That day, it was like a slap on my face, but I realized. And consciously, that also helped me think, am
Mm.
I good at it today? Maybe not, but I'm more aware.
Yeah.
I try to balance, and it's like a graphic equalizer, right? Sometimes we get pulled here,
Ah,
then hey, look, you're doing too much of this. Pull this down. Try to do this more, and at least that compass is there in my mind, saying, "Hey, is this still a circle? Where do I get the circle?"
mm,
And it's
mm,
a constant effort. It's
mm,
not a one-time thing. You have to keep doing it again and again, and don't take it for granted because you have to work on it. It's not
mm.
going to come to you easily. Uh, I think that's it. Health will lead to good mind, and then family. In that order, everything else will fall in place.
Yeah, yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. So amazing. I just feel, yeah, just feel good. I don't have words exactly, but I have a, like you said, I'm a very feeling person, so I know the sense of it, but words will take time to form. So grateful for this conversation, and like I learned, a lot of things got reinforced for me. What I speak, what I think, is exactly what you spoke in different words. The words were different, the essence was the same. So I really wish this conversation travels to many, many folks out there so that they are able to be inspired by what you shared. And even a small change makes a huge difference for them and their ecosystem. And that's really my purpose of doing these videos and living and even in my coaching and facilitation work. That's what I wish to do. Thank you very much, and yeah,
Thank you.
have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you for inviting me. It was great sharing some of my journey, and the questions were really made me think hard. So thank you for that. And
Thank you.
wish you the best and wish everyone who will be watching this the best.
Thank you.